Yeah, you right. Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson back at you. Let's do it on a Thursday afternoon. It's a hot one out there, a scorcher, but in the last few hours, we've had some cloud cover come a-rolling through and some showers in some parts of the city. Coming in the usual way from the west. What was that gimmick last night? What the hell was that? Very, very rare where weather comes in from the east. My buddy called me at Diamond Head, was like, dude, it's headed your way. I'm like, what's headed our way? And he goes, rain. I'm like, from where? And he goes, we just got it at Diamond Head. I'm like, well, dude, then that means the next spot's Mobile. He goes, no, it came from Mobile. I'm like, it's very rare where the storms come from the east. They always come from the west. So, what Baton Rouge gets, we get a few hours later. What we get, Diamond Head, past Christian, Mississippi, Bay St. Louis, Waveland, they get that like an hour later. Hour or two later, Mobile, Alabama, Pensacola, and so on and so on. It usually comes from Texas through Louisiana, across Mississippi, Alabama, Florida. The weather pattern, the usual deal all the time. Not last night. That was weird. Came in from the southeast, and that was a crusher for a while, man. That was like some serious thunder and lightning and rain for a good 45 minutes, like nonstop thunder and lightning. How do I know this? Because Mr. Tolley, the Australian Shepherd, he might pop up on the screen in a second as the Humane Society of Louisiana commercial rolls on by. Oh, boy. He's got a remote control watching TV. We still don't have Mr. Tolley. I think we get Mr. Tolley as a puppy coming up soon. Nope. We'll have to catch him another time. Anyway, my dog doesn't like the thunder and lightning. Freaks him out. So it's like fireworks. I'm going to have to get one of those thunder jackets or whatever, I guess. Anyway, got a good one lined up for you. Yeah, some rain coming in the usual way from the west. Speaking of the west, boy, the airport talk, I can't wait for Michael Heck to join us tomorrow from Greater New Orleans Inc. Louis Armstrong International right now has 3 concourses. You've got 2 that kind of jut out from the building towards the river. And then you've got one that goes down the west side of the airport. The east side, there's room for kind of a duplication of what you've got going down the west side. So the east side of the airport, they're going to add 15 more gates to the existing 35 and increase the airport's capacity to about 50 gates. But then there's talk of a new terminal after that, like a little bit west of the existing terminal. I don't think is big, but something, I guess, that would sit alone or connect to the existing terminal. If you the concourse that goes west, the terminal would go essentially right past that. I think there's like a Hertz rental car lot or something right there on the new side of the airport, not the old side. And then immediately west of that, there's a huge tarmac where planes just sort of park out there. There's no hangars, there's no building. It's just like a huge concrete slab, like a few football fields stacked against each other in size. So that's where this new terminal, a second terminal, would go. And more gates and more concourses, like maybe a couple of more concourses, like 6, and maybe 20, 30 more gates. We'll see. All that's good news. I mean, we need things like this. We need, I call them projects that are sort of, they're impactful. Mobile, Alabama is about to get a bridge over the Mobile River finally, instead of the tunnel on I-10, and a new Jubilee Parkway. So going from Mobile over the new bridge they're going to build, you'll take like a New Orleans East to Slidell type of I-10 3 lanes wide, hurricane evacuation route ready, big wide shoulders, all of that. So those are transformative projects. And no, like, adding on another concourse, going from 3 to 4 at Louis Armstrong International, eventually building another terminal with a few more concourses. That's good news. That's good stuff. That's transformative projects. We need that kind of stuff in New Orleans desperately, desperately. I'm a big fan of the HDLC. That's the Historic Districts Landmark Commission. It's a bunch of concerned citizens that care about history, irreplaceable architecture. Don't just tear things down. Don't just paint it purple and pink. Can't build something that towers over something else. On and on and on. There's all kind of, real, reasonable, smart thoughts and ideas that these folks kind of go by. They've got an architectural review committee. And although I'm pro HDLC, I disagree with this. This Elysian Hotel, they're saying it doesn't fit in. I mean, originally it was like a Marriott courtyard, 150 rooms, 7 stories. I would have green lit. I would have given that the go. Now it's a 5-story Hilton and it's 120 rooms, and I'd give that a go. And instead, they're not recommending that it gets built. Some neighbors, I mean, I hate when the media says like neighbors, like it's the majority of the neighbors. I've talked about this too many times. I could go into any neighborhood like the Bywater with a bunch of people with clipboards and sign this and go in and talk about they're going to build some condo towers on the river. They're only going to be, and whatever how many stories, only going to be 8 stories. They're only going to be 5 stories. They're only going to be 12 stories, whatever it is. It's going to have pickleball courts and restaurants like you have at the rice mill, maybe like a Pizza Delicious, great stuff like that. Indoor, outdoor, just add to the neighborhood, increase the value of our houses. Could you sign for it? I mean, come up with a whole spiel like on that angle. You could get like the biggest tree hugger to sign off on that. And then I can easily go down there with the opposite. It's going to shadow the building. It doesn't fit in with the neighborhood. It's going to ruin our neighborhood. They'll sign that. So it's not like a fair polling of the neighborhood. It's which group got out there first, like the port in St. Bernard. Sidney Torres, the old man, the third, the lawyer. I mean, every time he's in Frankie and Johnny, hey, how you doing, Sidney? No port. That's his whole life. No port. You might as well wear a T-shirt all the time. That's all you're hearing in St. Bernard instead of, what are the positives? Can you tell us a positive? If you asked him that, he'd say, there are none. That's what he'd say. So, I mean, that's not a fair, objective angle. That's just someone spewing it one way only. And, of course, that's going to stick until you hear an alternative view and then think and go, which one's better? So, no, I'm not against the HDLC, but, some neighbors in that area are saying, it doesn't fit in. It would harm the character of their historic neighborhood. I disagree. It's a crusty, crappy area on Elysian Fields that's been sort of beat up and dormant and not first class and kind of run down and sketchy. And you don't want your wife, daughter, mother standing out there, grandmother at, 9 at night waiting to get picked up by you in the car in 15 minutes. You don't want her standing out there. It's like that. It's dark sometimes. It's lit up sometimes. It's, it's nothing great. Sean Cummings, who built like the International House Hotel and the Rice Mill, the Rice Lofts condo, a few others. He wanted to build a hotel there like a decade ago plus, like 15 years ago. The neighbors just ran him out of there. It's just ridiculous. Cutting off your nose to spite your face. Going to help the neighborhood. I know you like the eclectic, funky, real feel, all that, and there's a lot of blight and rundown and, not a lot of regulation where people just, they, paint something whatever color, had some extra paint from the Mardi Gras, float. That's what the HDLC should be concerned about. No people breaking rules down there, especially behind the fence, behind the front door of their house. No, so I'm pro HDLC. I just think this Elysian Hotel, it's so New Orleans, how we react to this stuff. Just a good idea. Someone wants to come here and invest in a crusty part. This little lot's kind of crusty. That block's crusty. I love the Bywater. I love the Marigny Triangle right there. I love the Marigny. I love it all. But that would be a great plus as a New Orleanian that's for the city, for that neighborhood. No, it's crazy. The thing will end up getting built, and those neighbors will be eating at the restaurant and getting coffee at the hotel and laying out by the pool at the hotel. I've seen this too many times. Don't build the Audubon golf course. Don't tear down the greenhouse that's been neglected for 40 years. Don't build someplace. No one wants to eat there. They're at the tea room. They're eating at the restaurant. The people that were against it. Wow. Coming right back on a Thursday.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Word is, one of the best restaurants in New Orleans isn't even in New Orleans. Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. Cross the lake and taste what you're missing. Tuesday through Saturday. Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes, a magazine as unique as you.
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End.
Does Helm Paint have the best paint on the planet?
Helm
yeah. We only sell Benjamin Moore, the world's finest paint. Because paint ain't paint. Let us steer you right. Helm Paint.
Supply. Yeah, you right. Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson back at you on a Thursday afternoon. Thanks so much for joining us. Bradley Schneller from Stacked Coaching is about 15 minutes away. Every Thursday, a little after 4:30, talking a little fitness, a little nutrition with Bradley Schneller, Stacked Coaching. Check out the website, stackedcoaching.com. The gym's pretty conveniently located for a lot of folks. It's on River Road and Arnault. That's River Road, a block past Shrewsbury by the River Shack. Right past Oxner, right past Causeway and River Road. So a few minutes down River Road from Uptown. Folks from Mid-City can get there easily. Old Metairie, New Metairie, Old Jefferson. Pretty easy to get to. Go to the website, stackedcoaching.com. You can just see what the place is about. You can call or email Bradley, set up an appointment, no charge. Is the gym for you? How they do it for you? You want to go into classes? You want individual coaching? You want to just use the facility and freelance, whatever you want. There's mothers with twins and triplets in there. There's older men. There's older women. There's football players that were like LSU, Notre Dame stars, NFL players. There's a girl who used to get shot out of the cannon at the Ringling Brothers and Barnum Bailey Circus. She just got her master's degree in the last few days. So she's got a secondary college degree. I mean, it's got everybody. It's got everybody there. Stackedcoaching.com. No, it can be a life changer for you. You know, I'm starting to get what I say like in the middle age, which, you know, I'm exaggerating, embellishing in a good way for me, in a not a realistic way. I'm a little older than middle age, but I want to slow down the age thing as much as I can. And over a year ago, I joined up at Stack Coaching, and now it's sort of sticking like a year and a half almost later. A little less than a year and a half. I don't know, 16, 17 months now into it. It's kind of a lifestyle thing now. And that's me, someone who's not into lifestyle things. I'm not a member of any club. I don't hang out with a crew. None of that. I'm not against any of that. You club members or folks that are in crews. I don't go down to the hunting or fishing camp. I don't go on the golf outing with 20 dudes and we play golf for 3 or 4 days. I might do that with a couple of friends, 3 or 4 friends, but not 20. I'm just saying nothing wrong with any of it. I'm just telling you how I am. So for me to embrace Stack Coaching kind of says like almost anyone can. And I was pretty dormant. I was never like fat or totally out of shape. I was always sort of very pseudo active. I mean, I might be dormant for a while, but I might get on my bike. I might go run for a few months, stop for a few months, that kind of thing. Play tennis for a little while, whatever. Stack Coaching, I'm there all the time. You will too. And then the diet thing naturally happens where you're kind of watching how you eat and all that. Stackedcoaching.com. Bradley Schneller in about 15 minutes. Jeff Dorson, Humane Society of Louisiana, near the top of the hour. We toss him a bone for like 3 or 4 minutes. Try to raise a few bucks for this guy because he's out doing the hard work, saving animals all the time. 5 o'clock power hour. We got a good one coming up. Governor Jeff Landry, Gordon Dove, a handful of oyster fishermen, a handful of politicos and some power brokers down in Plaquemines. I'm telling you, I'm thinking it's like 50 or 75 white men tops, including the oystermen and the fishermen. They basically shut down a $3 billion project that was only going to help them. It's mind-blowing. Like, cut off your nose to spite your face. It's way beyond that. Some of the most short-sighted people ever, and they're at ground zero. They've seen the land that their father talked about, their grandfather talked about, that's open water now, that maybe they even remember it disappearing when they were a boy and watching it disappear their whole life. And they're against this because they're worried about today's oyster fishing and today's fisheries in that area. And then Jeff Landry posts something that is just factually incorrect. Like when I say factually, what all scientists would say, a full-blown consensus with scientists. He's talking about, this balance of, the fisheries and coastal restoration. When you're adding land and you're creating more fresh water, and all you're doing is moving the oyster fishing and the fisheries that exist in that area farther out. You're creating more fresh water, more brackish water, more marsh, wetlands, bayous, tributaries. All that's going to be created by what you're doing. All of it. The fisheries will, in the beginning, simply be moved, an inconvenience, and they're getting financially compensated. It's mind-blowing, these short-sighted folks. And then eventually it will increase dramatically. More land, more fresh water, more fisheries. You got the salt water. That we don't need any more of that. That's there. It's great. It's the Gulf. Mixes in. We get the brackish everywhere. And then more fresh. It's a no-brainer. More fisheries, not less. Doesn't harm. It helps. It's a step backwards for today's oystermen and fishermen, and they're going to get financially compensated, and they'll go get their oysters and fishing somewhere else. It's just so short-sighted. Garret Graves, 10 years a U.S. Congressman representing the 6th District of Louisiana, the former state chairman of the Louisiana Coastal Protection and Restoration Authority, CPRA. I think that's Gordon Dove's gig now. Garret Graves is going to join us in the 5 o'clock powwow around 5:20. You want to be around for that, because we're going to talk about how the governor and Gordon Dove and a few dozen Plaquemine fishermen, a few dozen Plaquemine oystermen, a few dozen politicians, and a few dozen power brokers nixed a fully paid for $3 billion project where $600 million's already been invested in it. $600 million. It's lots of jobs. It's engineering, construction firms that have committed themselves to it. Now they're packing up and leaving New Orleans, leaving the state. It's unbelievable. It sends out a terrible message. Maybe you don't go to Louisiana. Do the Texas or Oklahoma project, because they'll do it and finish it, because they said they were gonna. Took 20 years or so to get to this point, and these guys nix this thing in a matter of months. No, it is devastating to Louisiana's coastal restoration and master plan. The folks that are celebrating it, their alternative is years away. You know how much bureaucracy, red tape, Army Corps to get their new plan approved? And they're going to say, well, it's lesser plan, so it'll be easily green-lighted because the bigger plan was green-lighted. It's a different plan. You're hitting the reset button. It's no longer the Mid-Barataria Diversion project. It's the XYZ whatever project. Now, I'm for using all the tools in the tool belt, dredging and putting it on barges and sending it somewhere else and pumping it into a wetland or marsh that desperately needs it. Miles of pipelines, pumping it, the dredge material to marshes and wetlands that desperately need it, or barrier islands that are going to be built with it, bulldozing it around. No, I'm for planting all kind of marsh grasses and cypress trees and all of that. Rebuilding barrier islands that are underwater in the Gulf that have been gone for years, decades. The ridges are still there. You see what they're doing in Arab Emirates with these islands out in the ocean, the world, the palm. Tens of thousands, if not more, people living on them every day out in the middle of the ocean. No, if the Arab Emirates can do it, we can do it in Louisiana and restore our coast. So I'm for using all the tools in the tool shed, and especially utilizing the Mississippi River. It was going to build 25 square miles of land in a parish that only has a few hundred square miles of land. They're downplaying the 25 miles like it's not, the square miles like it's meaningless. And then they bring up the dolphin, which kills me, because if it was, hey, the dolphin are killing the oyster fishermen's oysters, they'd eradicate the dolphins in a second. The dolphins are a nuisance to our boats, they'd eradicate the dolphin. I mean, don't give me the dolphin thing. I mean, that's the mayor's, I mean, the governor's flaky on this. 1 minute it's, we can't afford it. And then people like me are saying BP is paying for it, and BP pays for the cost overruns. The state's not responsible for any of that financially. Garret Graves will join us in an hour. You'll get his take on it and all the real information on it, not the spin. So 1 minute it's can't afford it. And then when that's, shot down, because that's the more easily acceptable or sold item to push. But the reality is, it's these few dozen oystermen and few dozen fishermen and a few dozen Plaquemine Parish loudmouths and a few dozen Plaquemine Parish politicians. May not even be the majority of the Plaquemine Parish residents. Or these folks have convinced them that it's bad for us. It's only going to increase flooding in Plaquemine. Really. It's not going to protect Plaquemine and the West Bank and the New Orleans metro area, the population center. It's going to do the opposite. That's what you're telling me? No, it's sad because it took years. It's got bipartisan support. It's the number one part of our $50 billion restoration project. $600 million into it, gone. Poof, just like that. By a few dozen men that probably don't really know what they're talking about. Needs of the few, worrying about the squeaky wheels and the loud mouths, the needs of the few outweighing the needs of the many. Sad. It really is. Hey, Young's Dry Cleaning, nothing sad about that. The opposite. Your dry cleaner probably makes you sad. Put on a shirt, missing a button, collar's not right, blouse, slacks, whatever. Men, women, tired of your dry cleaner? Want to experience the best? They've been at it since 1940. YoungsDryCleaning.com, a New Orleans institution. YoungsDryCleaning.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamarck Automotive Complex is something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We do in all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience. Right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
South Shore residents that love good food are making the short trip across the lake to Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. North Shore folks have known about Gallagher's 527 for years. Now the South Shore has discovered this hidden gem. One of the metro area's best restaurants is less than 30 minutes away. Take the quick trip across the lake and experience Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. As good as it gets.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live. We live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love, more. When you do something, you have to do it right. You know, it's all about more, and it's all more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf Guard gutters. And you'll never have to clean your gutters again, ever. I guarantee it. Let Audubon Gutters install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home. And right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters 99-cent installation sale. Call 469-6494 now. Get out of that gutter and get on the phone. At Audubon Gutters.
Yeah, you right. Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson back at you on a Thursday afternoon. It's a little after 4:30. We head to River Road at Arnold, right past the River Shack. You got that Paulin's place, that vet place with the boarding place for animals. It's right behind that. River Road at Arnold. Stacked Coaching. You can go to the website, stackedcoaching.com. Bradley Schneller, owner, operator, head trainer, comes up with all the routines every day. He joins us live on the program. What's up, Bradley?
What's happening, Corey?
How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man.
Good, man.
Always nice, muggy, overcast day.
Yeah, if it doesn't rain, it's great. You can get in some exercise or get outside and enjoy it. And it's like 20 degrees feels like difference in temperature, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, Bradley, we were talking about bloated, that feeling a few weeks ago, and you joined us last on the program. Kind of just finishing up on that. I mean, a lot of people, even people that are fit, and I see a lot of people that are bloated, and I'm looking at him going, okay, that guy's out of shape and he's a little chunky, but he looks twice as heavy as he should because he is carrying so much, I guess, fluid, water. What's in a nutshell, what causes that? How do you avoid that? I mean, I see even people that are super fit will be complaining that they feel, quote, bloated.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm super bloated right now. And I kind of feel all those ways that you just described. And if you looked at me, like, actually currently, I just finished coming off a walk outside. And if you looked at me right now, like, I would not look like I normally look. And you might say, oh, he's a little pudgy right now, right? And a lot of that can be due to different things. It could be to eating out excessively. It could be due to alcohol consumption, right? It could be due to foods you're not normally used to. It could be due to stress, lack of sleep. And then here's one. It could be due to travel. A lot of people get bloated from air travel or sitting too long in a car. Changes in altitude can bloat you as well. So anything like that under the sun, the best thing that I try to tell people is recognize when you are bloated. Do you want to do the things to change them? Okay. Or try to prevent them by not doing those things. And so part of it is just the knowledge of it and then deciding how you want to tackle that.
And for certain people, you could be eating healthy and still get bloated. It could just be like one particular food item or category that doesn't sit well with you.
I got a perfect example for you. Okay. I've talked a lot on here about counting your macros or weighing and tracking your food. Okay. And you could weigh and track your food perfectly, hit the right calories you're supposed to get, the right amount of protein, the right kind of fat, and then the right kind of the right amount of carbs. But let's say a certain portion of that is tuna out of a can. Okay. And on top of that, maybe those, and this is a big one, I like to eat these a lot because they taste delicious and quote unquote fit my macros, are the Costco chicken nuggets, right? Like they have good, it's pretty decent ingredients. Okay. They're the carbohydrates looks good to me. It's a much healthier option than Chick-fil-A or Cane's or anything like that, or any other frozen chicken nuggets you might get. Okay. But here's the deal. They're frozen chicken nuggets, Corey. They have to preserve them somehow. Right?
Yep.
Like they're not like fresh and going bad in a couple of days. So in order to do things to preserve them for that long, there's a certain amount of sodium buildup in there. Right? And it's not unnatural. Don't let RFK try to tell you that this is like super terrible for you or anything like that. It's not unnatural. It's just a way to preserve the food longer. And we've been doing it for years. And there's little science on it in terms of long-term health effects. However, it will cause you to bloat if you overconsume it.
Yep. Sodium, kind of the, I'm not hyping Trey Yen, but they've never had, any MSG in there, not a teaspoon. Some Chinese restaurants, there's a 55-gallon drum of MSG in the kitchen. So
yeah, I remember, I don't know, Five Happiness for the longest time used to be able to call up and say no MSG. But I haven't eaten there in a couple of years, so I couldn't tell you. But you do have the ability to ask, hey, can you hold that off, especially if you're eating Chinese food?
Yeah, that's a big bloater. And I don't know how, it's I guess a flavor enhancer. Got to figure out if you can.
Oh, I got another one for you, Corey.
Yeah.
Over excessive exercise.
Over excessive exercise leads to bloating?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Because you're going to retain water because your body is broken down and it's trying to protect itself. And so it creates bloating. Like I always tell people this, man, like if you go look at somebody who's doing some like weightlifter workout in the gym or quote unquote a bodybuilding workout, they're just slowly moving and lifting weights, and that's all they're doing. Okay. They're going to look like they have a pump. They're going to look very defined at the end of the workout. Their muscles are going to be popping. Everything's pretty tight. All right. Take that same person, go send them on a 5-mile run. And when they get back, look at their belly. It's going to be a little distended. Everything's going to be looking a little bit puffed up because your body is bloated.
With that said, what's the kind of sweet spot for how many days a week to work out?
Yeah, I mean, it all depends on your goals, your age, your ability to recover, right? So like you have professional athletes, professional fitness people, or exercisers, however you want to say that, right? And This is completely different from bloating, okay? If the goal is how much should you work out to prevent bloating, well, like it depends how, like who you are, what you're doing, the style of workout, all these other factors, right? How much water you're consuming a day. But let's just say how many days you should work out. Well, like if your ability to recover is quick, you're younger, okay? You don't have a lot of stress during the day. Maybe working out is your job or you're a professional athlete. You can work out way more than someone who has to go to work and has the stress of their job, putting food on the table, as a family or kids, has chores to do at their house outside, cut the grass. Like all these things play a factor in our ability to recover from our workouts. So when we are constantly cutting that recovery off or cutting it short, okay, or not allowing our body enough rest each week, you're going to be in a constant state of bloating.
And I think that bloating is sending out a message like, hey, you're doing more harm than good maybe right now?
Yeah, I mean, it could definitely lead to injury or put you at a higher risk of injury.
Bradley Schneller's with us. We do it every week a little after 4:30. He's with Stacked Coaching. You can check out the website. He's got a gym on River Road at Arnold, right past the River Shack. StackedCoaching.com is the website. StackedCoaching.com. Bradley, meals, lots of mini meals every day. I eat 6 times a day. Lunch and dinner only. You have to have breakfast. How do you play it? And coupled with, is it okay to eat dinner late night and then go to sleep right afterwards? Tackle that.
Ooh. Man, this is an hour-long conversation, but I'll try to sum it up pretty quickly, okay? It all depends, all right, on what your goals are, what you're doing, your calorie consumption, how you feel, your sleep patterns, all these things, right? There's been a recent study that came out that said that your blood glucose levels are better during the day if you eat breakfast with a certain amount of protein, which makes you less hungry for the rest of the day. Okay. There was science before, and you don't see that much anymore, that you should do all these mini meals. You see that less now. The science lately, or there's been a lot of articles coming out where you should just eat 3 solid meals, okay, with enough protein, okay, and then maybe have a snack, one snack in there, which could be like a light mini meal, all right? But I will say this, if you eat a small amount all day, you are training yourself to eat all day. And you're going to have muscle memory that wants you to be hungry all day because you're used to taking your hand and putting it to your mouth constantly throughout the day. And when that happens, or you don't have the right types of food around you, you're going to reach for something that is not in your best interest, which may cause you to overeat. In terms of eating late, I'm not a huge fan of it, okay? From a calorie standpoint or fat burning standpoint, It really doesn't make a difference, but it can affect your REM sleep, which in turn makes the next day you're more tired, you don't want to move as much, and you may be hungrier. So you have to think about it in all of these different ways. So there is no right or wrong answer, but it's how the puzzle pieces come together for you.
Hey, that last part, the general consensus that I see, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, at least 2 or 3 hours after that dinner, go to sleep. At least 2-3 hours staying up after.
Yeah, you wouldn't, like, in terms of having the best sleep possible, okay, yes, you would want to eat 2 to 3 hours before bed, okay? And, you know, you might even push that window out a little bit further, but it's also not realistic in terms of most people, right? So you have to look at how that information works for you and then how you can use that information to your benefit, because you have an idealistic way to eat and then what is a realistic way to eat.
No doubt. Exactly. Couldn't say it better myself. Bradley, next week we'll talk about poor sleep because that's key as far as being fit and your nutrition, everything, right? Good sleep.
Everybody knows it's important, but they don't know how important it is.
Yep. We'll talk about that next week. How can folks get in touch with you, find out more about the gym?
Yeah, man, they can reach out to us on our website, www.stackcoaching.com. They can shoot us a message through Google. They can shoot us a message through Instagram @stackcoaching. Or they could call us at 504. Oh, I'm not giving you my private number.
There you go. Smart.
You can reach out to us on the website, through Instagram, through Google. We'll be there, and we'll get your answer to you within 24 hours.
Yeah, you'll respond. That's for sure. Bradley, always a pleasure, brother. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, man. Take it easy.
Stackedcoaching.com is the website. Stackedcoaching.com. That's Bradley Sneller. We do it every week. Hey, Garret Graves is going to join us to talk about the cancellation of the Mid-Barataria Diversion project. That's coming up in the 5 o'clock power hour.
The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, it's open now. We fix cars and trucks. We do all makes and models. And it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof, now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anywhere. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
Word is, one of the best restaurants in New Orleans isn't even in New Orleans. Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. Cross the lake and taste what you're missing. Tuesday through Saturday, Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes, a magazine as unique as you.
When USA Today ranked the 10 best must-visit New Orleans restaurants for travelers, Mid-City's own Katie's made the list. USA Today says Scott Craig is chef-owner at Katie's, a much-loved Creole-Italian eatery that draws armies of regulars for lunch, brunch, and dinner. A neighborhood spot where locals congregate and New Orleans-style hospitality rules. Indeed it does. Katie's in Mid-City.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Yeah, you right. Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson back at you. Thanks so much for joining us. I love getting Bradley Schneller on from Stacked Coaching. You know, and one thing I wanted to mention, and I didn't with Bradley, one of the guys that works out at the gym, he was there this morning, Cameron Gillies his name, native New Orleanian. A couple of weekends ago, he was in Colorado in Leadville, about an hour and a half outside of Denver, and ran a 50-mile run in the mountains on trails mostly, and just crazy, just 10,000 feet to 12,500 feet back and forth like 4 times, 50 miles. Next month, he's running a 100-miler. No, this Cameron Gilly guy is like, you know, superhuman. Seriously. He's just a regular dude who's working out at Stacked Coaching. I mean, from superhuman people to regular folks like me, stackcoaching.com. It's a Thursday afternoon coming up in about 25 minutes. Garret Graves, former US Congressman, former state chairman of the Louisiana Coastal Protection and Restoration Authority. He's going to join us about this, I think, just ready, fire, aim approach, this canceling of the Mid-Barataria Sediment Diversion project. I think it's bad news. We'll get Garret Graves' take on it. He's very knowledgeable on this, obviously. Former chairman of the CPRA. It is a Thursday afternoon. Jeff Dorson joins us. He runs the Humane Society of Louisiana. He's been running the Humane Society of Louisiana for over 35 years. And he's made tremendous progress, saved thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of animals over those 35 years. Could be tens of thousands of animals, but so much more to go. We're still not near the goal line. I don't know if we're even seeing the light at the end of the tunnel in Louisiana, but Jeff keeps grinding for us. He needs our help, our support. The only way they keep going, saving animals, is by donations. HumaneLA.org, HumaneLA.org. Jeff Dorson joins us on the program live. What's happening, Jeff?
Hey, man, I always appreciate your introductions. You know, you summed it up well. We've gotten a lot done, and yet the road is long and challenging. You know, people don't always care as much about animals as you and I do, and they mistreat them, neglect them, let them breed, they abandon them. They just aren't very nice sometimes. So we have our work cut out for us, but I'm really glad that you care and that you encourage our weekly show to have your listeners do the same thing that we care about.
I've been telling folks, especially with these heat advisories, if you have neighbors that leave the dog in the backyard all the time, like you're almost used to it. If there's a heat advisory going on, call 911. It'll be anonymous. Call the authorities. The neighbor can't leave the dog out all day, can't have a dog chained up for hours. It has to have shelter, water that's definitely going to be there, not a water bowl that's easily knocked over, things of that nature. It's not an alarm system. It can't just be neglected and put in the backyard because the neighbor, what am I going to do? Leave him inside for 8 hours when I'm at work? I don't know. Don't have a dog, or get someone to come by and let the dog out, or you come by at lunch from work and let the dog out. I don't know what to tell you, but I would just stress to people that have neighbors that are basically abusing their animals, turn them in.
Yeah, and kudos to LaSalle Parish Sheriff's Office. They gave us a call and sent us pictures of 2 horses, and I liked their attitude. They said, is this acceptable? And if not, what can we do about it? That is a great opening line. It just tells me that they want to have higher standards of care in their community. And we looked at the pictures and said, yep, that's criminal neglect. And so they went full force, took possession of the 2 horses and arrested the owners like within hours.
Nice.
They were not kidding. They weren't fooling around. Exactly the response we wanted. And we told them what to look for and that we would help pay for some of the bills. And then speaking of bills, I sent you some other pictures about the pit bulls that were still taken care of that Concordia Parish seized way back in the day in March.
What's that, like 41 of them, right?
Yeah, that's a big bill. If you think one neglected dog is expensive, multiply that by 41.
Yep. There might be a silver lining to this story. Where are the dogs right now, Jeff?
They're at a place that we really admire, Dixon Correctional Institute. It's a correctional facility.
It's a prison.
The inmates take care of the animals.
It's a prison.
Yep.
You have been talking for years. I've jumped on this bandwagon. I mean, Louisiana, we got a lot of prisons, that's for sure. And a prison cell is, like a cool floor for the dog to lay on, a concrete floor. They like that. You throw a little bed in there for them. I mean, you can close the gate. It's like, it's inhumane for a 6x8 for us to be in one all the time, you could argue, but for a dog as a temporary home, and then having the prisoners interacting, it calms the prisoners down. It's good for the dogs. It's a win-win for everybody. We should have a lot of prisons, also utilize some of the space, a super small amount, as like a dog rehab, the parish or the parishes, local kind of kennel or shelter.
Yeah, and the cost, the savings is astronomical. You're not going to pay the inmates. It's free labor. They enjoy it. And you don't have to build a monster multi-million-dollar facility. You add on a few more kennels and cages and you're ready to go.
No, there's no downside to it. Good for the prisoners, good for the animals. Everybody wins. You mentioned reduced costs. We can go on and on and on. I guarantee you in Louisiana, I'm not trying to be a jerk, there's got to be some vets that are in jail. Like there's vets in jail that could take care of the animals. We can go. There are people that are animal experts that committed some crime and are in jail. I'm not for anybody's grief or ill will, but I'm just telling you facts. Most likely, Jeff, you get all this implemented into it. But that's a silver lining that these animals are there. Hopefully, your idea catches on, and other facilities will do the same thing.
Well, we're going to do an award presentation to this prison program, invite the governor's staff, lieutenant governor, lots of state reps, and take a look, see for themselves. That if you want to be cost effective, boom, the model is in place and it's been working. So let's duplicate it.
Yep. Any final thoughts until next week, Jeff?
You can help our efforts. We're raffling off a gorgeous portrait of one of the rescued pit bulls named Bumper. You can see before and after how he suffered and now he's thriving. Acrylic and oil by Ali Bergere. She's a famous best-selling author, illustrator, an artist. She owns 2 art galleries in the town. So check out her painting. It's on our Facebook page. You'll love it. $5 a raffle ticket. Winner is drawn on August 31st.
Jeff, always a pleasure, brother.
Back at you. Talk to you next week.
That's Jeff Dorson, Humane Society of Louisiana. Please go to the website and donate right now. humanela.org. That's Blue Boy saying, stick around. Garret Graves joins us next.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson on TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube, on
Blue
radio
Boy.
at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
Good boy.
It's 5 p.m.
Good boy.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com. My Sittu, that's Arabic for grandmother, used to make the best football kibbe. You can experience kibbe just like my grandmother used to make, and so many other Middle Eastern favorites on the streetcar line. Lebanon's Cafe.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes are magazine, as unique as you.
Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com, your cool spots. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com, your cool spots.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf Guard gutters. And you'll never have to clean your gutters again, ever. I guarantee it. Let Audubon Gutters install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home. And right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters' 99-cent installation sale. Call 469-6494 now.
Get out of that gutter and get on the phone. At Audubon Gutters.
South Shore residents that love good food are making the short trip across the lake to Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. North Shore folks have known about Gallagher's 527 for years. Now the South Shore has discovered this hidden gem. One of the metro area's best restaurants is less than 30 minutes away. Take the quick trip across the lake and experience Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. As good as it gets.
It's time to relax. The Woodhouse Day Spa, Metro New Orleans' premier day spa experience, now with 5 area locations. For a day of relaxation or maybe just a quick 1-hour getaway, the Metro area's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa, and now 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and our newest location in Mandeville, the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Does Helm Paint have the best paint on the planet? Helm, yeah. We only sell Benjamin Moore, the world's finest paint. Because paint ain't paint. Let us steer you right.
Helm Paint and Supply.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live. We live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love, more. When you do something, you have to do it right. You know, it's all about more, and it's all more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City.
Yeah, you right. Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson back at you. Let's do this thing. 5 o'clock power hour coming your way on a Thursday afternoon. Pretty stifling as far as heat temperatures early today, but then some cloud cover and weather rolled in because that's why, because it is New Orleans. It's true. This is New Orleans. So we're going to get those afternoon thunder showers in the summer, and that's a blessing. Drops the feels like temperature like 20 or 30 degrees. Yesterday it was like, feels like $110. I saw somewhere in Metro New Orleans it felt like 114. When you get the clouds rolling through and the breeze blowing, feels like 80 something. I mean, it could be like a 25 degree temperature difference. Crazy. Got a good 5 o'clock power hour. Garret Graves, 10 years a US Congressman, former state chairman of the Louisiana Coastal Protection and Restoration Authority. Garret Graves is going to join us on the program. And we're going to talk about the cancellation of a fully paid for $3 billion Mid-Barataria Sediment Diversion project. Bipartisan support, Republicans and Democrats, including a Republican governor, a Democrat governor. Years, over a decade to get it done. So much bureaucracy and red tape in a wetland, in a marsh, Army Corps of Engineers, on and on and on. They got it done. BP's footing the bill. And now this project canceled like on a whim, really. On a whim. Some politicos from Plaquemines, a few dozen tops. Some big wigs from Plaquemine, big donors, have some money. They're going to get the governor's ear. A few dozen oystermen and a few dozen fishermen canceled a $3 billion project. That's like the star project, the main project of our $50 billion coastal restoration plan. We have engineering and construction firms that have moved into the city, hired people, bought equipment, rented space. It's a $3 billion project. We're $600 million into it, $600 million in, and the governor canceled the project. Garret Graves is very familiar with this. The CPRA former chairman. That's Gordon Dove doing that gig for the governor today. No, I think this is a huge blunder. This is a prime example of the needs of the few outweighing the needs of the many. These poor people that are doing it, cutting off their nose to spite their face down in Plaquemine. And today, Governor Landry posted something about, we're balancing the fisheries and coastal restoration. This project in particular was only going to benefit the fisheries overall. The fisheries would increase with this project. If you're adding 25 square miles of land and you're just pushing the oyster fishermen and the fishermen in that area that fish and get oysters in that area farther out, that's all you're doing. You're going to create more fresh water. You're going to create more brackish water. You're going to increase the fisheries overall in Louisiana. That's science. There's no arguing that. Will that brackish Barataria Bay turn fresh? Of course it will. Like it was when these oystermen and fishermen's grandparents lived there. There were no bottlenose dolphin there. Probably in these guys' lifetime. I mean, that's the sad part. The people that are making this decision are short-sighted. They're not looking at the big picture. They're not looking at the future. And what's ironical about it is these folks have seen firsthand from their fathers and their grandparents this land disappearing that's now open water. And they're worried about today's oyster fishing, today's fishing, not their kids, not even their own kids. They're not even going to preserve it for their own children. It's mind-blowing, but it's typical Louisiana. It's how we do things. It's a much bigger version, but it's like this Elysian Hotel. You get some squeaky wheels in the Marigny and the Marigny Triangle. It doesn't fit in with the neighborhood. I'm all for the HDLC. I'm not against them. I'm for them. I'm for their, architectural review committee. I just think they're wrong on this one, that it doesn't fit in. It's bad for the neighborhood. The neighbors are saying it. It could harm the character of their historic neighborhood. It's only going to benefit that neighborhood. It's on Elysian Fields, a 3-lane street in each direction, 6 lanes with a big neutral ground. That area is kind of crusty and neglected and beat up. These people that are against the project, they'd never let their daughter, wife, mother, grandmother stand on that corner where the hotel's being proposed at 9 at night for 5 minutes, much less 15 or 20 minutes, like waiting for you to go pick them up. Just go stand on that corner right there, Elysian Fields, a couple of blocks off the river. I mean, it's crazy. It's an improvement, but we like cutting off our nose to spite our face, and these squeaky wheels get heard. The needs of the few outweigh the needs of the many. I mean, it would only improve the neighborhood. It's like these low-rise condos, 6, 8, 10 stories they want to put that have been proposed. I shouldn't say they want to put on the riverfront, like in the Bywater and Marigny neighborhoods on the Mississippi River. And those folks are freaking out about it. Like stopping it at any time, any chance they get. I mean, the rice lofts, the rice mills, right there. It's right on the river, but it's an old historic building that's been there for 100 years, so that's okay. But building something new the same height with residences like that building, we can't have that. No, we cut off our nose to spite our face. And this Mid-Barataria Diversion project is like the number one item in our $50 billion coastal restoration plan. And within a few months, Jeff Landry nixed it. Now, I'll just say this, generally speaking. You can say Jeff Landry's the greatest thing since sliced bread. You can hate Jeff Landry. I'm just going to make this point. Throughout his entire campaign running for governor, and while he's governor, outside of this, he's never mentioned once coastal restoration. It's a major problem. We need to rebuild our coast. He's mentioned many more times about sending Louisiana's National Guard to Texas to protect their border, but not about our border with the Gulf of Mexico. Never during the campaign, never as governor has he mentioned, man, we need to restore our coast. We need to make sure we get, more wetlands. We need to build barrier islands. Never have heard it out of the governor. The only thing, we're canceling this Mid-Barataria project. That's it. If there was any argument that could be made, and I don't think this is true, but it'd be a lot easier to argue that Governor Jeff Landry's against coastal restoration than for it, because he's never mentioning it. And the only time it's ever come up, he's canceling the number one project for the state. Garret Graves is ridiculously familiar with this project. Garret Graves, for 10 years, was a US Congressman for the 6th District here in Louisiana. And he's a former chairman of the CPRA, the Louisiana Coastal Protection and Restoration Authority. He might have been the first person to ever have that position. I think the Jindal administration, post-Katrina, created that. I think. We'll find out. Garret Graves is going to join us in 5 minutes. No, I think it's a major blunder. A major blunder. Hey, John Johnson drops out of the Council District E race. That's probably a good thing. John Johnson's kind of long in the tooth. Wasn't very effective when he was the councilman out in the East. You could argue, during his tenure, the East was only on a decline the entire time. It's like the Harry Lee syndrome. Every minute, every hour, every day, every week, every month, every year, every decade, Harry Lee was sheriff. Crime only increased in Jefferson Parish. That's a fact. It only increased every minute under Harry Lee. So I don't know how effective Harry Lee is, but beloved, even though crime only increased. You have North Shore folks that moved from Jefferson Parish to the North Shore. They love Harry Lee. Why'd you move to the North Shore? Oh, the crime in Jefferson. It's mind-blowing. No, John Johnson, years ago, didn't get much done. Ended up going to jail. I'm not against like second chances. That's what America's built on, giving people a second chance. But long in the tooth, I don't think he's any kind of special person. Like, I'm not saying he's dumb. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just not saying he's like special. Boy, this guy's a great thinker and creative and understands problems and can come up with quick solutions and implement them. And he's special. And he's just kind of painfully average. He's painfully average. Cindy Nguyen is the easy choice out in the East. Not about her. Selfless, not selfish. Not running for some power trip or control. Civic-minded. Like, by definition, civic-minded. Hey, New Orleans. Hey, Baton Rouge. Got a paint project? Helm, Paint, and Decorating. A no-brainer. Because paint ain't paint. Benjamin Moore Paint, the best on the planet. That's what Benjamin Moore and Helm are all about. The best. Like, I painted my house with Regal Select Benjamin Moore paint. I'll never paint my house again. Lifetime guarantee. Lifetime warranty. Best paint on the planet. Benjamin Moore, because paint ain't paint. Helm, Paint, and Decorating. When you got to knock out that paint project in New Orleans, in Baton Rouge. Helm, Paint, and Decorating. Garret Graves next.
Total maintenance keeps you cool.
Word is, one of the best restaurants in New Orleans isn't even in New Orleans. Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. Cross the lake and taste what you're missing. Tuesday through Saturday. Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day. By river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, insagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, insagency.com.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Scott Craig of Katie's Restaurant.
All of my ingredients are fresh. Nothing comes out of a can here. Nothing. All of our seafood, is Louisiana. All of our vegetables are Louisiana vegetables. It's a neighborhood restaurant.
Katie's in Mid-City.
He was a congressman for a decade, representing the 6th district here in Louisiana. And I'm going to find out. I want to say he maybe was the first CPRA chief. I want to say Jindal created that and had Garret Graves run it. Garret Graves joins us live on the program this afternoon. Garret, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing great, Corey. How about you?
Doing well, man. Thanks so much for joining us this afternoon.
You bet. You bet. Good to be back with you.
Did Jindal come up with the CPRA, and were you the first chairman of that?
Yeah, there was sort of an idea on paper, but under Governor Jindal, we actually created the agency and put it all together, and I did chair that, and just an amazing experience. We had a ton of progress on the coast during that time, including getting levees built back for the greater New Orleans area after Hurricane Katrina. A lot of other folks involved there, but that was one of the biggest accomplishments. Dealt with the BP oil spill and all the aftermath and negotiations and investments that happened there. And so I had a whole lot going on during that time.
Literally billions and billions, tens of billions of dollars in projects, right?
It was tens of billions, yeah. It was one of the largest civil works projects in U.S. history. Tens of billions of dollars, and the really just amazing the way that brought some really smart folks together, Corey, and integrated coastal restoration with hurricane protection, just for the first time ever, really looking at how to build a comprehensive solution for coastal Louisiana. And look, we still have some vulnerabilities, as you well know, and as we've seen from Hurricane Ida and other recent storms. But also, I think it's important to note, give credit where credit is due. As much as I've beat up on the Corps of Engineers over the years, some of the work that we did together with them for the levee system around New Orleans has protected communities in Plaquemines and St. Bernard, and obviously in Orleans, Jefferson, and portions of St. Charles Parish. So it did its job, and the strongest levee system we've ever had in that area, and it's withstood some big hits since Hurricane Katrina. But as I said, still have some work to do further over, particularly to the west and even some of the North Shore communities.
Garret, I'm assuming this cancellation by the governor of the Mid-Barataria Sediment Diversion project, I'm assuming it didn't sit well with you, and coupled with it's devastating. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, look, I think you nailed it. The bottom line is that the coast should not be political. The consequences aren't political. The floods, the coastal erosion, the hurricane hits, they're not political. They impact everyone, as we saw so vividly with Hurricane Katrina, so painfully with Hurricane Katrina. And it's a huge mistake to move that program in a political direction. Everything that we've done, and I'm not going to tell you that when I was there, we did everything perfectly. We certainly made some mistakes, but we never did any intentionally. I think we made a ton of progress, and everything we did was based upon science, and some of the great coastal scientists in Louisiana and elsewhere informed where we invested those tens of billions of dollars. And every single coastal study that has been done for decades and decades. And look, these names may not mean anything to you, but these are some of the people that are some of the leaders in coastal Louisiana, doctors like Robert Twilley, Shea Penland, Denise Reed, a lot of them with a long history in New Orleans. These are folks that really were the first, some of the first scientists looking at coastal Louisiana. Sherwood Gagliano, I mean, they're just John Day, a bunch of really, really bright folks. And every single one of them said that you have got to reconnect the Mississippi River and the Atchafalaya River with the coastal area. I don't need to go into a history lesson with you or anybody else, but I think most people know that Louisiana was literally created by the Mississippi River over over thousands and thousands or tens of thousands of years. In fact, millions of years ago, Corey, the bottom of the Mississippi River was somewhere near present-day Oklahoma. And over, long periods of time, it just kept depositing sediment, growing land. And so literally the entire state of Louisiana is a product of the river. Well, we've now lost thousands of square miles. And the largest single cause of that land loss was putting the levees on the river and blocking that sediment that used to grow our state. And so the solution is reconnecting it in certain areas and doing it with control structures. Look, there's nothing experimental about this. We have projects. There's one called Cupid's Gap, Bohemia Spillway, West Bay, the Wax Lake Outlet, the Atchafalaya River. I could go on and on. We have all of these projects that are out there doing exactly what we want to do. Carnarvon, Davis Pond, exactly what we want to do, but doing it even better, learning from the successes and failures of some of these others. And so they have a huge project that has been through every federal process. Has been slated to in fact, it's under construction today, and it reconnects the Mississippi River, huge volumes of water, and now they've pulled the plug. They've already spent in excess of $600 million on this, and so now they're going to pull the plug. The state's likely going to have to pay back the $600 million. I don't know where that's going to come from. Our state doesn't have $600 million sitting around, but more importantly, this project's really foundational to the future of our coast. It works in complementary nature with our levees and pump stations and other types of projects to protect and sustain coastal Louisiana and our communities. So it really is a gut punch.
Garret Graves is with us, former state chairman of the Louisiana Coastal Protection and Restoration Authority, 10 years, a US Congressman representing the 6th District. You mentioned politics. I've said, Garret, that a few dozen oystermen, like a few dozen fishermen, a few dozen politicos from Plaquemine, and a few dozen power brokers. I'm thinking like 50 men got this $3 billion project nixed. So when you said politics shouldn't play a part, how did politics play a part?
For the life of me, I can't figure this one out because look, as you said, I worked in politics. I was in Congress for a number of years. I've been subjected to political pressure over the years. I know what that feels like. And when you're subjected to political pressure, look, you can certainly look at what people are pushing you to do and decide if it's the right thing to do or not. In this one, when you look at, like you said, what do you have, 50 people out there pushing and saying that this is a bad idea? 50 people that aren't telling you that this project also has a mitigation fund of over $300 million to address the very concerns that these folks are raising. I'm going to say that again. Folks acknowledged years ago that this project was going to have some impact on communities. And so there was a $300 million mitigation fund put together to help address the concerns that they had, which compensates them, which addresses their concerns. So for the life of me, Corey, I cannot figure out who in the world would agree to bow to the political pressure whenever it's just the wrong thing to do. There's no other way of looking at this other than it is the wrong thing to do. And you can't replace this project. It's foundational to our future, the future of the coast of Louisiana. And everybody's out there saying, oh, we're just going to dredge or do whatever. It would take me about 30 seconds to explain to them why that's not even remotely possible to replace the volume of sediments that you're looking at under this project. It's just crazy.
No,
and on a coast, I guess.
And I know you're pro dredging and all that, but it's in certain spots, certain ways, and man has to constantly keep that up. I want to rebuild barrier islands, all kind of stuff, but this is the river doing it naturally. It's almost like you're getting it for free, and it just continues to build land. There is no, hey Garret, we got to dredge because the stuff we did over there, the island's shrinking again.
Yeah, and you're exactly right, and I am pro dredge, and dredging is gonna continue to be the largest single component of our overall coastal program. But you would literally have to put a dredge sitting there 24/7 for decades to come in and replicate the amount of sediment that you're talking about. And you did say it correctly. You nailed it. I mean, this is basically, once you build this project, it effectively is just sitting there transporting sediment for free. And to be fair, every once in a while you're going to have to come and dredge out that conveyance canal, that diversion canal. But otherwise, it's just diverting sediment. And the other good thing is it's taking sediment out of the river that we're currently paying to dredge hundreds of millions of dollars a year between Baton Rouge and the Gulf every year. And so, you potentially even get some savings there. But that savings can be reinvested back into other coastal projects and navigation projects and other important investments in Louisiana and in our economy and in our future and our ecosystem. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. And you will not find a legitimate coastal scientist who will look at this and say, yeah, this is a good idea. You should abandon this project. There hasn't been one and there won't be one. It's just a dumb political move, and it's going to come back to haunt us. Corey, it just reminds me, you remember after Hurricane Katrina, you had all these expert reports and folks that came in from all over the United States and all over the world looking at what happened, how this happened, and they found all of these mistakes, these things that were done, all these bad politics in the greater New Orleans area that happened that influenced decisions. What I'm seeing right now in this decision is those types of political influences creeping back in that got us in the awful situation we were in that resulted in Hurricane Katrina. And unfortunately, I feel like we're just sliding right back into that same situation. And the problem is that Louisiana needs tens of billions of dollars more to protect our communities and restore our coast. And if we're doing things like this that just aren't based on science, and they're based on political science rather than coastal science, it's really going to undermine our ability to get additional federal funding, the funding that we need to protect our communities and prevent a Katrina-like situation from happening again.
Garret, I got to take a quick break in about 30 seconds, but if you can answer this before, or we'll pick it up on the other side. Why is this like the cornerstone of the coastal restoration master plan? Why is this so important?
Well, it goes back to what you said before. Look, you need new sediment. You need more sediment in these coastal areas because that's why our coast is eroding. I mean, so this is a really, really important, what I'll call construction resource, and you've got to get it. The only place to get it is from the river. Otherwise, all you're doing is rearranging sediment in the same areas. You need new sediment diversions, the best way to get it.
Garret Graves is with us. We're going to knock out a quick break, come right back. A few more questions for Garret, discussing the governor and specifically the cancellation of the Mid-Barataria Sediment Diversion project, a project that's fully paid for, $3 billion canceled. Coming right back, more with Garret Graves. Don't move.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
There's a Middle Eastern restaurant that's less than 5 minutes from where Causeway and River Road meet, Lebanon's Cafe. Convenient to Old Metairie and Old Jefferson. Carrollton at Jeanette on the streetcar line, Lebanon's Cafe.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Does Helm Paint have the best paint on the planet? Helm, yeah. We only sell Benjamin Moore, the world's finest paint. Because paint ain't paint. Let us steer you right. Helm Paint.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes are magazine, as unique as you.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations, New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live, we live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love, more. When you do something, you have to do it right. You know, it's all about more, and it's all more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamarck Automotive Complex is something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We do in all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience. Right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
South Shore residents that love good food are making the short trip across the lake to Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. North Shore folks have known about Gallagher's 527 for years. Now the South Shore has discovered this hidden gem. One of the metro area's best restaurants is less than 30 minutes away. Take the quick trip across the lake and experience Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. As good as it gets.
Welcome back. Corey Johnson with you on a Thursday afternoon. Garret Graves is with us. We're discussing the Mid-Barataria Diversion project being canceled. Garret, the governor, Gordon Dove, they keep kind of flip-flopping around. 1 minute it's about fisheries and oystermen. Then I think they realize that, that's probably not enough reason. It's just a few dozen oystermen, a few dozen fishermen. The fisheries will just be moved farther out. In the long run, this is going to create more fisheries for Louisiana, not less. And then they'll flip-flop over to it's expensive. We can't afford it. It's way too expensive. BP is paying for this $3 billion project. BP, from what I understand, any overruns is paying for this project. When I say BP, the disaster money, those funds.
Yeah, so these funds are, this project is being paid for from funding from the oil spill, which includes both a criminal settlement and civil penalties. And so that is where this money is coming from. Look, I want to be fair here and give credit to Chairman Dove and give credit to the governor, and that, the cost of this project up to $3 billion, it did increase, and it increased significantly from when I was there. And so, look, I think it's fair. I want to be clear on this. I think it's fair to take a fresh look at the project, figure out how, the cost escalated as high as it did. Look, I'll tell you, I've been doing this type of work much of my life. I've seen people try and come in and shove cost in and make things gold-plated and all that don't need to be. And so I think it's fair to take a fresh look at it. It's not fair. It's not appropriate. And it's not science-based. It's not Louisiana's interest to abandon the project. And that's basically what they've announced. And so, you want to take a fresh look at it and see if you can find ways to save money. I'll support you all day long, as long as you do it quickly. But to abandon it is crazy. And yes, this is funds that are from the oil spill. There's nobody who's going to suddenly get a $3 billion, blank check to spend on whatever they want. That's not how this works. You got federal law. You got a federal consent decree related to a criminal settlement. You got a consent decree related to a civil settlement. I mean, the courts will be coming in and enforcing something here at some point. You can't just spend somewhere between $600 million and $1 billion, get nothing for it, and walk away and think that's okay. There's going to be a rude awakening here for someone at some point in time, and it's just really regretful that folks are doing politics or whatever it is that they're doing. Because I'm going to say it again. dumb decisions like this are going to result in another Hurricane Katrina-like situation for South Louisiana, and somebody's going to either take the blame for this awful mistake, or somebody's going to have the courage to do the right thing and get this project back on track.
Hey, Garret, you mentioned over $600 million has already been spent. I'm assuming some of these engineering and construction firms that were brought in, that came in, they signed up for the project. They have a contract. It's a $3 billion project. It's X amount of time. They invested in men. They invested in women. They invested in equipment. They got offices in New Orleans. At the very least, it sends a message out like, hey, the Louisiana, Oklahoma, or Texas project, which one should we go to? They're going to go to the others because they're not going to worry about them being canceled. But worst case scenario is, I'm assuming some of these engineering and construction firms are going to be suing.
They sure are. Some of them already have. But Corey, it's not just about, big engineering and construction firms. I mean, as you can imagine, you've got smaller mom and pop Louisiana type multi-generation businesses that are providing support services. In fact, I talked to one of them several months ago that told me that if this project went away, that he thought he was going to have to shut down his very well-known Louisiana-based business that is, somewhat iconic. And just because he had made investments and kind of ramped up, and there were other parts of the market where, he was seeing some challenges, and this project was going to keep him afloat. And so this isn't just about, big businesses. This is about some of your smaller mom and pop ones. And you can't even imagine you have a project that big. I mean, you're talking about, things like food and support services that go into, massive number of businesses in South Louisiana. And so you really do have a lot of smaller mom and pop type businesses that benefit from this as well. And as I said, some of them, this is make or break, especially when those folks have maybe made big investments to be able to ramp up to service a project of this size, to service a workforce of this size. I mean, we're talking, this project down on the western bank of Plaquemines Parish, there's not a ton of businesses and development down there. So this is a big deal. This is a big investment for a lot of folks.
Hey, Garret, the $3 billion price tag, they've already talked about, maybe a smaller diversion in the same place, all this stuff. First, a question. It took decades, right? How long did it take to get this thing green lighted? You had the Army Corps, you had all kind of bureaucracy, red tape, bipartisan support, a Democrat governor, Republican governor, both parties involved, in the House and the Senate. And you get this thing, approved. How long did that take? And then some new project. It's a new project. They're not just going to be like, okay, you're shrinking the size of it. Go ahead. It's going to have a new name. It's going to be a new project, new everything. It's going to have to go through all the bureaucracy and red tape, right? This isn't just spend the money somewhere else in the next week.
That's exactly right. And as a matter of fact, this project, it dates back probably about 3 decades, maybe even longer, in regard to some of the original studies and other things that were done. You had some bigger approvals that were done in 2005 and 2007 on this. So that's 20 years ago right there. But Corey, not to jump into the weeds of this process on how a project gets developed and gets funded and all that stuff, but I'm just telling you that anybody who's out there saying, we're just going to resort back to this old project or this one is somebody who has no idea what they're talking about. To get a project of this size and scope, to get it, kind of all the way through the approval process and get the funding for it, you likely would be looking at decades. And let's be clear, Louisiana doesn't have decades. We've had years in the last 20, for example, in 2005 when Hurricanes Katrina and Rita hit, where our state lost an estimated $200 square miles of land. I'll say that again, 200 square miles of land. You've heard it said before that our state's already lost the entire land area equivalent to the state of Rhode Island or the land in the state of Delaware. I mean, these are, if we were the same size as those states, Louisiana would no longer exist.